It's absolutely flabbergasting, I don't know about you, to hear about all of these changes under one big omnibus bill to all sorts of different legislations, I understand. We'll next be hearing from Malcolm Allen, who is a member of the New Democratic Party. He was elected as a member of Parliament for the riding of Welland in 2008 and re-elected in 2011. He's the current NDP critic for agriculture and agri-food, and we had a good chat about sustainable agriculture earlier. And Allen has introduced legislation that would remove severance pay from EI waiting periods, create a national organ donor registry, and establish a national local food day. Allen also played a key role in blocking Karla Homolka from winning a criminal pardon and led legislative efforts to successfully remove taxes from the purchase of poppies sold in the Legion's annual poppy campaign, saving the Legion almost $800,000 a year. Malcolm is a past member of the Pelham Library Board, Niagara Health Coalition, and a recipient of Niagara Regional Police Chief Commendation. He holds an undergraduate degree in History and Political Science from Brock University and is here this evening on behalf of Megan Leslie. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Celeste. I bring greetings on behalf of Megan, who obviously, as you've heard the committee's meeting this evening, they do these things to us. They did it to me in the Canadian Wheat Board, where you would think things like wheat would be the agriculture's domain. It turned out to be a special legislative committee, not the agricultural committee at all. But this is sort of the government you deal with and some of the things you do. Hence, we've seen this bill C-38, this omnibus bill that literally has everything inside of it besides the kitchen sink. That's the only thing they did leave out. And so let me just sort of give you a sense of where, from our perspective, what we see has happened here, and what is, in our sense, what has happened is this is about anecdotal science and urban myth. So the first thing you start to take away is you take away StatsCan, Census Canada, and you sort of remove all those things, so you don't really have any numbers to talk about. So you don't have any real pure science to talk to. You can't say, well, you know, over here, this happened. You go, oh, actually, I'm not sure that happened, because nobody's actually measuring it anymore. So then they start saying to you, well, there's no evidence for that. It's not science-based, which is, there are two buzzwords, by the way, that they use all of the time. When they bring in witnesses or they bring in folks who simply say things like, they make a statement and then they say, well, it's science-based. Really? And what science was that? And which actual piece did you do? And what exactly was that theory? And what was indeed the study? Can you quote it for me? Can you send it to me? And invariably today, I can tell you in almost 4 years of being there, I've never received one single solitary study that I've asked for from groups that told me the things they told me at committee were science-based. And so it isn't about science, in my view. It is about urban legend and great myths. And that's the direction they've headed in. And as Tom Flanagan has said numerous times, if you catch Tom Flanagan on CBC's Power and Politics, he will say things like, if it sounds plausible, keep repeating it until they believe it. And the reality is, quite often, the media will keep repeating it for them. And after a while, it becomes the urban legend that everyone wants to believe again, because we look back over here for the science study. Oh, it isn't. And so you have nothing to look back to. And so that's what one should understand about this group is they're not stupid. We should never underestimate them. This is a smart group who's figured out how to deliver messages and how to drive an agenda of where they want to go. Now, sometimes they do it with a bill like this one, which is an omnibus bill, which is draconian in nature. And talking to my friends who have been around since the 90s and on both sides of the House, including some folks who were old progressive conservatives, like our friend that we were talking about on the way over, Mr. Lee Richardson, who's a real gem of a man, to be honest. I had a great opportunity to work with him in international trade the last Parliament. I know Elizabeth has known him for quite some time, who announced his retirement today. If you talk to him and others who've been around, in Lee's case, he's been here since he was there in '88. He's never seen, nor have other of my colleagues ever seen anything like this before. There have been omnibus bills in the past, without a doubt. Nothing like this. We haven't, to my knowledge in the House, we've barely scratched the surface of the budget part of the Budget Implementation Act, because we have spent so much time trying to talk about all the other pieces that are so important, and the environment being a piece. I think if the numbers are correct, it's about a third of this bill is about the environment. Is Jim Flaherty's Budget Implementation Act. How did it get to be all about the environment because they have an agenda and they intend to drive the agenda, and they will maneuver and manipulate so that they get what they want at the end of the day, not only because in Parliament they have a majority, because that's an obvious, but the agenda has been driven out there to you, so that when they pass it over there, they get you to somehow swallow all of this, maybe I'll just call it poppycock. Because at the end of the day, they have to be able to sustain the agenda, and the only way to do that with you is to do what Flanagan says. Make it sound plausible, so we have responsible resource development, not sustainability. Make it sound plausible. Say it over and over again. Get the media to repeat it for them. Make it a mantra, and you'll repeat it after a while. You know, if I can do a personal aside, when it comes to mantra, I've been married almost 33 years this September, and my beloved wife, who's at home, started saying to me when we were first married, "I'm the best thing that ever happened to you." Now, say that after me. And she was absolutely right, Elizabeth, without a doubt. And as you can tell, I got the mantra. What we cannot get, we cannot accept, and what we must continue to fight against is their mantra. Because they do have majority in the House, and that's a reality, and those of us, as Elizabeth and I, as parliamentarians, will have to deal with that and fight the way we can within the limitations that we have, some limitations and some not quite limitations. But it's more important, clearly, that you fight the mantra. Because the greatest thing about Canadian democracy, we get to choose again. And at that time, as long as you don't eat the mantra and don't buy into the mantra, you can choose something else the next time and undo the things that they intend to do, but you can actually stop some of it now. And that's by continuing to stand up, continue to fight them, and continue to make it difficult for them to go down the road they want to go in. And I know we had to keep it short, but a Scotsman and a politician, which I am both, is always a hard thing to do. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.